Hey guys, welcome back to Matthew's Ballistics. Tonight I'm working on something a little different. This is 223. You can notice that the shell's not very big, but the bullet that I'm using is pretty big for a 223. This is a 77 grain Alco precision ultra low drag bullet. And they've got their G1 ballistic coefficient listed at 0.512, and that is really high for a 22 caliber bullet. So, or 224 caliber bullet. But I'm starting to do a little bit of a load development with it. So it looks like the bullet is seated really long for 223 or 5.56, and it is. But I'm designing these. I'm going to use some single feed into my bolt action. So from here you can actually tell that the base of the bullet is well seated into the neck. It's not, it's a long bullet, so if it looks like it's hanging out too long, it's really not. It's right where it should be, or about where it needs to be. And Alco, being known for their rebated boat tail, this is one of their rebated boat tail bullets. So we're going to see how this goes. To start off with, I'm going to do something that I didn't do the last time I loaded 223 or whatever. Is I've got a bunch of this Lake City brass. It's like it's brand new brass, and I measured it, and some of it varies by about 5/1000ths of an inch in length, and so I want to fix that. I want to make sure it's all as precise as I can get it, so I can get a better, more precise round out of it. Because I did have, some muzzle velocity differences that were quite a bit larger than what I wanted. All the rounds were still extremely accurate, and being that I'm not going to shoot those 50 grain VMAX over 300 yards because they kind of really don't have enough energy past 300 yards to be effectively lethal, in my opinion, for hunting purposes, which is what I'm going to use them for. Now, they could shoot and take down smaller game effectively well past 300 yards, but when you're talking about shooting deer with a 223 or 5.56, I like to know that the bullet is carrying at least 600 foot-pounds of energy when it hits an animal that's at 150 pounds or so, or bigger. So if it's got at least 600 foot-pounds of energy, I'm pretty comfortable with that. So that's basically how I base my maximum range on as far as hunting goes. Now, as far as like target shooting goes, my maximum range, I kind of base it on at what point it reaches the transonic zone. So for these, this is a 77 grain, so it's a pretty heavy bullet, really long. They show a suggested twist rate of 1 in 7. My rifle's a 1 in 8, so it's kind of an experiment. We'll see how it goes. So to get started with, I got to figure out what the shortest one of these cases is, and then trim all of the rest of the cases to that length. So that one was 1756. That one's 1757. 1757. 1755. Oops. So 1755 so far is the shortest one. 1755 as well. And 1757. So I'm going to go ahead and set my trimmer to the 1755 length, which this thing is still set for trimming pretty heavy Lapua wrench. There it is. Get the right sized wrench for it. So, basically on this trimmer, this is just an old, I believe this is a Lyman. Yeah, it's a Lyman trimmer, just a manual hand trimmer. Basically I can just set the collar on it to stop where I need it to, and from there I can, it's got a small adjustment that you screw in and out to get your adjustment as precise as you need it to be. So go ahead and set the set screw on this, turn it just a little bit, make sure it's down, come back and check the length, 1755. I'm going to take one of these that's a little bit longer, set it in there. Now once I get this done, you'll notice with the round that has not been trimmed versus the one that is, you can tell that the mouth is definitely a little shinier, even though I really am only taking off about 2/1000ths of an inch, which is a very small amount. But I'm going to have to go back through and kind of chamfer and deburr these to make sure that there's no sharp edges that would grab a hold of the base of this rebated boat tail, because in my experience using this style of bullet base is that sometimes going into the case, getting them started, can be kind of difficult, and sometimes it can grab a hold of that edge there and kind of peel the copper a little bit. So I've got to be really careful and make sure I'm going really straight when I'm seating these so they go in evenly as possible, and so that none of the copper jacket gets damaged. At least that's the goal. You know, sometimes you can't help it and it does get a little bit damaged, but you know, you got to think when the bullet flies down the barrel, the rifling is cutting into the bullet or mashing into the bullet, and also, you know, damaging it a little bit, which affects the ballistic coefficient to some extent. But yeah, so that's my project. Some 77 grain rebated boat tails from Alco bullets, and I'm going to be using some CFE 223 because I still have a little bit left. And once I run out of that, I'm probably going to move on to some H 322 powder. The H322 is not going to get as good of a velocity out of it, but it, you know, if it's more consistent, that'll be fine. I don't really intend to be shooting this rifle, you know, much past 300 yards anyways. If I get a chance to take it out further, I will, just for fun, but you know, I don't have a range that's readily available that goes past 300 yards. But anyways, I just thought I would let you guys in on that. When I do the load data on these, I'm going to go ahead and look up the maximum load data for CFE 223 with a 77 grain bullet, and I'm going to start there. I'm going to load them to the maximum, which is what I usually do, and then I'll play with the seating depth as I see fit. But I've already checked this for to make sure it would chamber, and it chambers fine, no problem in the little bolt action. So that thing actually has quite a bit of throat to it before the rifling. I mean, this in no way will actually fit in a magazine, like not even close. I think I might have a magazine. I had one laying around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. So this is a PMag or whatever, and you can tell that there's no way that's going to fit in there. No way at all. And this is my dummy round, but that is it in there with the back of it fully seated, and it's still sticking out. Goodness gracious, almost 0.5 4.4 inches sticking out there. So quite a bit longer than a standard 223 or 5.56, but I know that it will chamber in the rifle, and so this is going to be my standard for beginning load development, and I'm going to be using, like I said, the CFE 223, and starting at the maximum load data for a 77 grain bullet. I'm really just going to go off the load data in the die set here. Just as a quick reference, they've got CFE 223 listed at 24.3 grains and a velocity of 2,811 feet per second. Of course, that depends on the barrel length that they tested. I believe the barrel length that they were testing was actually quite a bit longer than mine. Mine's 16.5 inches, because when I used the maximum load data for the 50 grain VMAX, it was saying it should be about 30, right around 3,500 feet per second, and I was, out of my 16.5 inch barrel, I was getting about a little over 3,000, about 3,050 or so as an average. So that shorter barrel, I'm going to have less velocity, so I'm probably going to expect these to be in the 2650 to 2700 range, probably somewhere in there. So anyways, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to trim these up, and then I will work on loading some tomorrow. So we'll see you next time. It's been Matthew's Ballistics. Thanks for watching.